This is Abraham Rader doing another shift on Fulp Station as an atmospheric technician. I'm looking forward to another day of laid-back medium roleplay when I meet the friendly station chaplain Osmond McLagan on my way off the arrival shuttle. I get attacked immediately. So much for the server being a hug box. I manage to get off the shuttle, but the blood loss leaves me slow, and Osmond catches up to me and finishes me off, setting my Fulp Station speed run record at 1 minute 14 seconds. Nonetheless, when dead, don't panic. A Mothman passerby witnesses what happened and carries me to medbay, and I'm prepped for surgery by a doctor enjoying the comfort of a lounge chair. It turns out I was still bleeding, and I passed out from blood loss. A clown harassed my dead body while a mime kept it barely hanging on with CPR, which demonstrates definitively that mime players are the better of these two meme jobs, and I go under the blade again. After 12 minutes since I first arrived into medbay, I'm finally alive again, and while the chaplain may be dead, the space religion that radicalized that chainsaw terrorist was not. It was at that point I was filled with a greater determination to burn that chapel down than that of the average Norwegian black metal band. My vision was also black and white, perhaps from rage. But actually no, the doctor claimed I was blind, yet I could see. It didn't really make sense, but at any rate life was without color now. I leave medbay, and when I get to engineering, I realize my PDA is missing and I can't get in. I return to medbay and interrogate the doctors for the whereabouts of my PDA, but they don't know. I have to concentrate and use all 3 of my brain cells to try to remember where it possibly could be, and whether or not I have to go find the head of personnel or not to find a new ID. Oh, right. The traffic accident. Luckily, Stephen Hawking didn't steal my PDA, and soon I'm at my workplace a mere 18 minutes after my arrival. At this point, however, my job does not matter so much as my purpose does. My purpose is to destroy that chapel and put an end to the chaplain menace. I get to work in the turbine room. I install an extra scrubber in the burn room and set up volumetric pump outputs. After the initial pipes are set up, I begin feeding plasma and oxygen into the burn room and set it alight. Soon tritium is being produced and I set the scrubber to start extracting it. The next stage is to secure some metal, glass, and plasteel, and then I head over to the fabricator. Turns out there's no metal on the station whatsoever. Mining informs me that it is overrun with spiders. It is therefore not possible for me to build any freezers for my plan, and is probably now a good time to explain what's going on. I need to first begin by explaining what we do in toxins in the science department. In toxins, our goal is to create as large a bomb as possible and explode at a safe distance away from the station, you know, because it's scientific. This bomb is referred to as a maxcap, and we create it with hardware components: an oxygen tank, a plasma tank, tank transfer valve, and some kind of signaler such as a remote signaling device. We drain the oxygen tank and the plasma tank of their contents because you want them empty. We then fill the plasma tank with the hottest plasma we can generate, and we fill the oxygen tank with 1 part tritium to 2 parts oxygen, all of which is cooled down to around 45 degrees Kelvin or a little bit lower. We attach the oxygen and plasma tanks to a tank transfer valve and then attach a remote signaling device. The remote signaling device opens the valve. The combination of the superhot plasma and the significant amount of cooled oxygen and tritium result in a rapid pressure change which causes the explosion. The question we might ask ourselves next is, does that mean combining hot plasma and a cold tritium oxygen mix into a canister cause it to explode? The answer is no. The necessary ingredient for the max cap is the rapid change in pressure, in other words, an instantaneous change of pressure. And that's why the tank transfer valve is important. But the tier 2 canister is by no means safe. and all we have to do is open up that canister to understand why. In fact, doing something as easy as merely a hot plasma mix can let us set up some pretty nasty defenses of the engineering department, or your own version of a Rammstein concert if you prefer that analogy. At any rate, this type of defense needs to be used carefully because it does a lot of collateral damage. By the way, don't try to do this with a tier 1 canister, it won't work as intended. So while it is probably more ideal to use chilled tritium and oxygen for this canister I'm filling up in order to compress more of this fuel into it, it is not possible to do so because the station has no resources, because spiders. I also, for the purpose of saving time, skip putting in oxygen. Will this give me the desired results? I head to the chapel to find out. I hesitate upon seeing occupants in the chapel and get a fire lock closed on me, but one of them rescues me. I inform them of the situation and the vendetta I had. The chaplain killed me, so the chapel must die. They understand, and I do what I need to do. Flames pour out explosively and I'm soon enveloped. Process probably could have used some refining on my part, but I'm saved by the Good Samaritans. It succeeded beyond my expectations, and in fact breached the hull of the station in parts, with just one canister. I limp to medbay barefooted and have a bot patch me up a little. I'm still a mess in the evac shuttle, but I steal the boots off an injured shaft miner being operated on. It turns out a spider snuck onto the evac shuttle and I try to help take it out. The venom ends up getting me pretty bad. Near death, I crawl to the stasis bed and plug myself in. It's a sad state of affairs to be in, but it keeps me going until we reach our destination, and that's about it for the round.